Hello, Whiskey brothers and sisters. Welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host, Mark, and this is Whiskey Review number 106. We're going back to Johnnie Walker for this review, a very special Johnnie Walker, one that I'm sure many of my viewers and many of the, I guess we'll call the whiskey community or the whiskey fabric as it's sometimes known, probably their favorite of the Johnnie Walker lineup. And this is Green Label. Green Label, unlike the other Johnnie Walker, is actually a blended malt, which is quite interesting. Now, Johnnie Walker, if you're not aware, is a blended Scotch whiskey, generally speaking. So a mix of grain whiskies and malt whiskies from Scotland and blended together. So this one's just a little bit different, in fact. It's just blended malt. So there's no grain whiskey whatsoever. Simply malt whiskey. And it came out, in fact, in 2005, I believe, because the 10-year anniversary was 2015. And then the product was discontinued, especially, in the North American market and probably the European market around 2011, 12, 13-ish. That was rumored to have been the end. But then in 2015, for the 10-year anniversary, they released they released this one, a one-time only release of the 15-year-old. And then finally, I think based on the demand, and I think a lot of the demand, it comes from actually the mixologists, the bartenders. Partially from demand, they have widely re-released the 15-year-old worldwide, world over. Now, the disruption actually didn't occur in parts of Asia, for example, Taiwan, where I guess this is a very popular item. It never did, fall out of stock. However, a lot of people couldn't find the Johnnie Walker Green Label for a period of time, and when the re-release came, it just came and went very quickly. That was in 2015, and then I guess sometime around springtime this year, there was word that it would be finally returning to shelves, hopefully for good. So that's interesting. Now, before we carry on, first of all, let me just get this poured. Now, you're looking at two bottles. This is the wide release, the newest one, and this is the temporary release from 2015, okay? And while I'm pouring these, I'm going to give a few shout-outs to some people. And one of them, this is actually the third time now, but I keep forgetting and putting it well in the middle or near the end of my review. So that's for Swami Suave. Swami Suave is a Canadian from Quebec, and he also does whiskey reviews. Generally speaking, older ones than what I do, and as such, he simply can't do as many because of the cost. So he needs some support. So great guy, very interesting, very entertaining, very concise. Why not give him a subscribe to his channel, SWAMI SUAVE, Swami Suave. Look for him on YouTube, okay? Let's get that poured. And who else? Some other Canadians. Whiskey in the Six, Rob from Toronto. He does a mix of young and old, and quite a good collection of reviews. And in fact, I think, he was commenting that I had quite an increase in subscribers for a period, and then lo and behold, right after that, his channel has just exploded, and he's got well over 300 subscribers and pretty close to 20,000 views in total, and that's just from 2016. So quite interesting. What I like about his reviews, he just tells it like it is. He doesn't dress it up, and he's not afraid to give whiskeys a bad score if it's due. And it seems as though he readily acknowledges that that he's a beginner, as am I, and accepts a lot of information from his viewers, which is great. So he adds a lot of interaction with his subscribers, and looking at his reviews, I think that he'll probably surpass me. Not that I'm some great channel or whatever, but I guess I did start a little bit before he did. Anyway, I think he will eventually catch me. So we'll see. The race is on, Rob. Okay, so that's Whiskey in the Six. And over to Scotland, Ben Bowers with A Dram a Day, A-D-R-A-M, A-D-A-Y, A Dram a Day. Now he's doing his reviews for a very good cause, for charity. He's trying to raise £5,000. I believe it's for, is it brain cancer? I keep forgetting. I should have written it down. I shouldn't have written it down. I didn't. But anyway, why not subscribe and check out his reviews? He does one whiskey every day, so huge collection now. So that's just utterly unbelievable that he's able to keep that up. So hats off to him. Okay, all right. So this is the present incarnation of Johnnie Walker Green Label blended malt, 43%. Color-wise, that is pretty much bang on amber. Okay, no indication on this bottle of color or filtration, so we'll just skip that. I think you can probably guess what that means. And here we've got the temporary release from 2015, and we're going to pour one of those too, just to make it fun. There we go. Now it's interesting. Whoops, I just spilled. Oh well. Interesting that the 2015 release seems to have been really purposefully released for the service industry, for hotels and pubs and bars, because of the cap it's got. So this is the kind of cap you cannot put anything in there. It only comes out unless you totally remove the plastic cap. So that's interesting. It's not elegant, but it's certainly functional in that sense. And interestingly enough, it seems as though, I don't know if you can pick that up, but the older release, the 2015 temporary release, is in fact just a shade lighter in color than the new one. So barely noticeable, but I mean, the more I look at it, the more I notice. And you may notice also with the bottles, if we hold them side by side, that there's just a fraction of a paler look to the 2015 than the 2016, the newest, the regular release. Anyway, of what importance is that? Not a whole lot. Okay. Now, I've got the new one, I've got the old one. I'm not done there. I've got one more Green Label. And this one I will not open. This is the former general release. So when the whiskey was in strong production. And actually this one is, I believe, something that was earmarked for the Asian market. And interestingly, as I just get that unpacked, have a look at the color of the bottle. Now this is a liter, by the way. Dusty, I should have dusted it off. That was a amateur fail, but anyway, look at the color of the bottle. Can you see that it's green? And they've done this with some of the blue label by making the glass a blue color, and it adds just a stunning appeal to the look of the bottle itself. Anyway, so very nice. This was actually, no, I think maybe this was the Asian regular release for 2015 to celebrate, I believe, that the 10-year anniversary of Green Label. So, interesting. One more view of that one. Can you get a good view of that green color? Really nice. The box is beat up. I got this at a well, we'll call it the Namdaemun Underground Market. It's only underground because that's physically where it is. It's not as though it's illegal. Okay. And if you're curious about where that is, if you're in Seoul and you'd like to know, then just send me a message. There's actually a video that shows you how to get there. This one, by the way, it's got a very elegant packaging, and I think it says something here about that. This is the limited edition pack, crafted by Aaron Gregory. Okay, now I've done another one of his special packages. I believe that was for the black label, so that's interesting. Now I'm not going to read all of this. I think that's unnecessary. I think sometimes I do like to do that, but I won't. And if you're looking at the roll of pictures, I've taken a picture of the inside of the box where it talks about the constituent malts. And I really want to get this thing closed up again because I don't know what the packaging that's being used in the interior there, but it has a very, very strong, unpleasant smell. So I probably shouldn't keep that in there, given the scent. Anyway, it's only been about I don't know, a couple of weeks since I opened that one. So okay, enough chat. Let's get on to the nosing and the tasting of the wide release that is available worldwide, and then we'll compare that, the nose and the taste and the finish, with the former temporary release. Of course, we'll also add some water and see how that changes the profile. Okay, and towards the end of the review, I will present another little interesting thing that's sitting right over here. You can't see, and we'll talk about that very briefly as well. Okay. All right. Johnnie Walker Green Label, 15-year-old. I didn't mention it was 15 years old. So everything in this is at least 15 years old and possibly older. And well, there's a picture there of what is called Island Green. So that's another new item from the Johnnie Walker range that is supposed to be perhaps a little bit even more peated than the regular green. Okay. All right, on to the nose, and we'll have a short, very short bit of advertisements from the YouTube advertisers right here. Okay, welcome back. On to the nose. Johnnie Walker Green Label, 15 years old, the current regular release. It is extremely fresh. There's a lot of orchard fruits. There's a peppery note. There is definitely some peat, although not as much as I would have thought. The black, in fact, is, I believe, peatier than this one. But it's very rich. And of course, extremely malty because there is no grain whiskey in this one. What did I write here? the nose, spice, licorice, honey, wood burned wood. I don't know why I wrote it that way. And then you get some vanilla, especially the more time you give it. Again, it's 15 years old. You may want to give it 15 minutes before you get into the nosing and the tasting. Put a lid on it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be I'm not telling you to be quiet. I mean put a lid on the glass for 15 minutes and then take it off and give it a whiff. Yeah, that was pretty silly. I'm kind of corny. Okay, and so the peat is definitely woven through there throughout. There's a touch of clove, something illegible that I can't read now. What did I write there? It looks like trough, but that doesn't make any sense. Okay, and orange peel, a bit of orange peel. And when you give it more time, you get some really, really elegant, woody, fragrant woody notes, kind of like sandalwood. Or just, you know, very aromatic oak. All right, on to the palate. Cheers all. I am going to take one more sip. I just had another little bit of something, and I think that messed up the flavor to this one. So sometimes you should take a second sip before you start to really decide what something tastes like. Let's try that again. Well, it's spicy and sweet, peppery and fruity as well. Peat is very, very mild, although it is still there. Mint and some licorice also. And when you give it a bit of time, the vanilla and a bit of honey will come out as well. Okay, and how about the finish? Fruit and spice, pepper and salt, interestingly, and a kind of a herbal tea flavor, something like hibiscus or rose hip, something slightly fruity, tangy, yet floral in there. And a very long finish, I must say. It does go quite long. I think that was a bit of a short pour, wasn't it? I know that's probably not the best style-wise to add more once I've gotten into it, but I want to have enough to really compare with the older bottling. Okay, so let's add a bit of water there. Not too much. I'm going to add about 3 or 4 drops of water. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? We'll go one more. 5. That might have been 6. Not very much. Okay, and we'll let that sort of mix up. And while that is doing its thing, while that's mixing it up and getting some air, we're going to have a quick sniff of the 2015 release. That's this one. Okay. Now, it's really interesting. A moment ago, when I was checking my notes, and also the few times that I've compared them, I've done that about 3 times by now, I find that this 2015 release has a lot more Speyside and Highland character to it. Now, I think I didn't mention all of the main malts that go in this, and those are Talisker from the Isle of Skye, Linkwood from Speyside, Cragganmore from the Highland region, and finally Coolila from the Isle of Islay. Okay, now I think that the 2015 release had a little bit more of Speyside and perhaps Highland, and or possibly some unpeated Coolila. Now, I've never tried the unpeated Coolila, but it's just not as licorice, spicy, peaty effect going on. So I'm getting a lot more fruitiness. And now, since that's been sitting for a while, I'm getting some leather tones and a little bit stronger of this sandalwood. So that's interesting. And so I think that's the Linkwood. I've never tried Linkwood, so I don't know, but I think it's the Linkwood from Speyside and the Cragganmore that are a little bit more active here in this blend, or perhaps have a slightly higher percentage of the total blend than they do in the current version. Okay, so not as peated, not as spicy, less saltiness, less of this licorice sense that I'm getting. Okay, and side by side, I better make sure I keep that straight. Side by side. Now, of course, I got water in there. Yeah, just a little bit more pepper and licorice at play here. Okay, let's check out the palate briefly. Much more honey, much more vanilla, and goodness, very nice. I write here, much more honey and apple, salt, caramel, orange peel, apple, very, very mild peat. Again, something illegible there. Yep. Okay, and very sweet, almost no spice. And the finish, when I wrote this, right now, what am I tasting? After I swallow, I've got the fruit, touch of spice there, that herbal kind of tea note as well. But anyway, quite sweet, quite vanilla-esque. And then there's a little bit of a kind of that sort of minty envelope glue. So, I mean, which I don't mind. If you have to lick one envelope, it's okay. If you have to lick 10 of them, then you probably get a little bit sick of that minty, sweet, weird taste. Again, very long. Okay, so again, just quickly to compare, this is the regular one. Very spicy. Now I didn't add water here yet, so I better do that, because we want to compare apples to apples, right? Now I don't want to carry on too long, but we'll have another short advertisement, okay? Right here. Welcome back. So this is the 2015 temporary release for the 10th anniversary of the Green Label, and this is the current wide release. All mixed up? Yep. Okay. Yes, goodness, a lot of honey. And yet there is also something of a leathery note here that I'm noticing now. And that could be because of the time I've allowed it to breathe. Okay, back to the current release, the wide release. That's this one here, okay? Now, when you're smelling a lot of whiskey, you may find your nose gets a little bit anesthetized. So maybe take a whiff of your clothing, like so. Probably not your suit jacket, not the best thing to do. Okay, and then take the whiskey and go right down to the lip. Okay, not to spill it. Okay, and then up to your nose. You can roll it a bit there. Whoops, I just spilled some. And that should help you get some of that evaporation and hence the fragrance up to your nose. Oh, yes, peppery. Big pepper. Now, the pepperiness may be from the Talisker distillery. How about this one? Let's try the same process. Leather and honey. Honey and leather. Bit of apple. So they're both Green Label, but the current release is moving towards Islay and Island Talisker. And probably there's a good reason for that. The reason being that such whiskeys are in high demand, and so by tweaking the flavor profile of Green Label a little bit towards the smokier end, the spicier end, it should generate more sales. Okay, now really interesting, because this is not what I was smelling earlier. I didn't get any leather when I was taking my notes just a short while ago. Beautiful. Spicy. There it is. Okay. Did I check the palate on this one? I think I didn't. Just accentuates that sweetness. There may also be, even though the color is lighter, there may also be more possibly sherry casks involved in the older release, and possibly more bourbon with the new release, and fresh bourbon, first fill, again giving more spice to it. Okay. All right, so that is Johnnie Walker Green Label. Sorry that I'm not willing to open up the other one, but I have a feeling that that this version will be pretty much the same as that one, because they're pretty much from the same year roughly. Okay. Anyway, let me know what you think of Johnnie Walker Green Label. I think for a lot of you it's your favorite. Is it my favorite? Well, probably thus far, I'd have to say yes. I've had the black. It's been a long time since I've had red, so I can't comment about that. I've tried some of the Spice Road and other travel retail versions, and I've had the cask strength blue label, and I've got a review of that as well. And I'll add that somewhere here. There'll be a link there to the blue label review. Okay. Anyway, definitely, I think this is my favorite Johnnie Walker amongst the range. And well, let's talk about the scores. Okay. So earlier today, I gave the current version 88 and the older version 86. Now, I'm going to change that now because something has really happened in the glass here with the time that it's had to sit. Okay, so I'll give them both 88. All right, so 88 for the current version, and the nickname of this one is going to be called Spice Walker. Okay, and 88 for the former, and the nickname for this one will be called the Honey Walker. Okay, so Spice Walker, Honey Walker. I'd love to hear your interpretation of either of these. I'm sure there are lots of folks from the USA that still have that in their cupboard. So go grab a new one. Pretty reasonable. I picked this up for practically a song here in Seoul at Costco. It was 55,001. In fact, maybe it was 54. So you're talking less than $50 US for a 15-year-old whiskey. That's 43%. That's pretty good. Canada, this one was $80, $80 something. And anyway, so pretty big variance in the price, isn't it? Okay. So 88 out of 100, that's the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Johnnie Walker Green Label, new and old. Okay. Now, if you happen to be someone who prefers some of the leathery, sweet, honey-esque tones, maybe if you like, well, some of the classic malts, such as Talwhinnie, Cragganmore, then probably you should lean towards the older one, and I'm sure you can still find them. If you are more interested in the peaty, spicy flavors from Talisker and Kulila or Lagavulin or etc., why not head towards the newest version? I think you'll be pleased. Okay, and the Island Green, boy, I'd like to get my hands on that one, and I hope to very soon. Okay, okay, so that was the review of Johnnie Walker Green Label. On to part two, something new coming up. So I brought a couple of, well, a Canadian whiskey, Lot 40, and an American whiskey, Stranahan's Colorado whiskey, to the fine folk at the malt shop where I frequent. And I attend a lot of events there. They're very, very generous to me. There's also a video telling how to get there. So if you're in Seoul, if you're in Gangnam, you can find the malt shop quite easily by following my little walking route. Okay. Anyway, so after attending the Compass Box official tasting put on by White and Partners, which is the importer here in Seoul, in Korea, in fact, they gifted me with 3 wonderful independent bottlings. So the first is Kleinlich 17-year-old. So that'll be interesting. I've had the 14. That'll be great to try the 17. The second is a Silent Distillery Imperial 20-year-old. So that's very cool as well. And I believe this was Old Particular was the bottling. Okay, that's the bottler, I should say. And the last is a Mortlach, 18-year-old. Okay, so Mortlach. Have I tried Mortlach? No, I haven't. So very excited to try that one. Likewise, the Imperial and also the Kleinlich. So that'll be very cool. I'll have to check out the ABV on these. I think it's pretty high. And they were all matured in hogsheads. Anyway, so those will be part of 3 future reviews. I won't have the bottle to show, but I'll at least put the picture up for that one, okay? So thank you, big thank you to the Malt shop. Thank you, gentlemen. Great work you're doing. Keep it up, and well, I'll see you soon. And for all of you, thanks for watching. If you've watched until this point and you haven't subscribed yet, then I think I can encourage you to do so. So why not subscribe? You can click the link just over there, right over there in the corner. You see a little picture of me. So click on that one and hit the subscribe button, okay? And if you like the review, push like, okay? And if you're in Korea, then what do they call that? 좋아요 눌러주세요. Please click 좋아요, okay? That'll help me a lot. And thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more to come. Lots more to come. Stay tuned. And we'll see you in Whisky Review number 107 very soon.